would assume they're both still feeling pretty alright with their performance so far.
Yep, I would say so. For those of you who aren't quite familiar with the tournament format, we're currently in Swiss stages of the tournament. There are 7 rounds, and runners who go 5 and 2 or better will make the brackets. So the third loss is really the killer that has the potential to knock you out, failing some weird tiebreaker scenarios.
Yeah, there could be some weird scenarios going on, but usually taking 5-2 advances as a rule of thumb is probably a good idea.
Well, Herf, normally we ask about what weapon the uncle is going to give us, but today we got a weapon in Link's house. We get our first sword.
A little interesting tidbit that we don't get to talk about too often because this doesn't happen so much is that if you do get a sword in the first chest in your house, you're not able to swing it until you talk to the uncle.
And we also get the Cane of Samaria from the uncle. I think we're going to be seeing sword strats in Escape, though.
Yeah, I would think so for the most part, saving up on their magic as much as they can.
It is really nice to have... Oh, we get an early map check. That's a crystal at Eastern, a red crystal at Desert, and a blue pendant at Hera. It's nice to have a weapon that doesn't use up magic. It'll make farming for a bomb here in Escape a little more pleasant.
Yeah, the Cane of Samaria makes it alright, but with a sword in hand, it just, you don't have to worry about anything. And you know that you can definitely kill that annoying little key rat at the end there, no matter how much magic you still have left in the tank.
Malle using a little bit of cane strats there on the first blue guard.
I mean, if you have it, might as well. I don't really think it's any faster than the fighter swords who use the canes. I still think it's 2 hits.
Yeah, I think the blue guards are 3 hits and the green guards are 2 hits.
Nice little spin strat there from Walther, grabbing that key in a little bit more of a convenient location. Doesn't save a whole lot of time, but you know, it's little things like that that you can optimize to make your escape a little faster than maybe the next guys.
Yep, we've seen some pretty close matches this tournament, so every little frame may end up counting. They find the map there in Zelda's chest. A lot of people who run Rando know that you can count items in dungeons. Each dungeon has a certain number of items, but you can even do a little bit of counting here in Escape. If you don't find the map by the time you get to Sanctuary, then you know you can skip that chest. But since we just got that map, we'll be checking every chest on the way out.
That map also conveniently explaining why nobody else was able to rescue Zelda beforehand, because nobody could find their way.
We see already that, you know, those little tricks have already helped Walther make up a few seconds worth of lead here on Malle. So just stuff like that, if it builds up over the run, can really make a difference.
Yeah, and if you've followed NMG or any other speedrun that's highly contested for a while, you do know that at the very top tier, the small optimizations like that, the couple of frames that you can save, that 1 second, that half second, that makes all the difference. So, you know, it's not necessary if you're a newer player, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out if you're planning to practice your rando a little bit more and refine it some more.
I've noticed that neither one of our runners has gotten a bomb drop yet. So that might cause some trouble. Walther killing some of these snakes here, hoping for a bomb drop, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think these snakes are usually the first big farming room, I will call, and there we go, gets a signal bomb drop. Was probably open for a little bit more, but one is better than nothing at all.
Yeah, and Malle gets a bomb drop on that side as well.
Oh, and we're grabbing a red goo in a bottle, so that means that Kakariko check that we're about to see after we're done with escape will be a little bit more convenient, being able to check that sick kid right away.
So let's see what that bomb is going to earn our two runners today. Well, that's certainly something. That's an early bow.
Oh, an early bow. That's a very nice find. That makes... Well, I guess the lamp is technically required by logic for Eastern, but that makes an early Eastern play viable.
Yeah, and the dark rooms in Eastern are not that challenging. I suspect these runners will probably go straight to Eastern unless some other progression pops up.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they can get out of the Lost Woods and Kakariko, which I'm pretty sure they're both going to be heading to first. Oh man, there's a Master Sword in Sanctuary.
Now that our runners have the Master Sword, they might be a little bit afraid of finding the lamp, because that would put Aghanim into logic for Dark World access, or for the Pyramid item.
Yeah, you might get a little nervous, but at this point you still have so many places left to check. It's not unheard of to grab your Dark World access at some point here. You also see an interesting choice here. Walther is deciding not to check the lumberjacks. He says, alright, I'm going to check those once I find the boots. Before I have the boots, not really worth it.
Yep, and on the other hand, Malle is going to give us a check of the lumberjack. Walther, meanwhile, finds the flippers in the thieves' drop-down in the Lost Woods. Lumberjack looked like just a piece of heart.
Yeah, I think that was a piece of heart or a heart container for the lumberjack, so not really worth it at all. But those flippers, yet another progression item in our possession. We don't quite know yet if they will be fully required, but there's a good chance that they will be.
Both of our runners managed to pick up 3 bombs, so that'll make checking Kakariko a little more convenient. Don't have to run down and buy bombs, especially since we don't really have any money to buy bombs yet.
Yeah, the seed's been a little bit stingy so far. That can change very quickly, but we don't really have any money. The bombs have been okay, I guess, for what we need.
Well, we get the Bombos medallion here in Blind's basement, and we get 100 rupees, so that will make checking the bottle vendor possible. And there's our lamp.
Alright, so... getting closer. But as we were saying earlier now, not only is all the rest of Kakariko open to Walther and Malle as well, we also have all of Eastern open now with that bow and the lamp. I think it would be very unfortunate and a very weird placement for this to be Aga required, but we'll see.
The bottle vendor with an important piece of the Dark World puzzle, that's the Moon Pearl for 100 rupees. I think that's a pretty good deal.
That is definitely a good deal. Especially considering we just found all that money that we needed to pay him for that. Alright, so we are finishing up with the Kakariko loop here on Walther's side. Gonna be grabbing the arrow upgrade of the back of the tavern, and then heading over to Sick Kid to check what he can grab from there. Already found 2 bottles with 2 free red goos in them.
Sick Kid giving us his allowance.
Alright, here's the library check. And then we're gonna go over and check the race game. Just another bomb upgrade.
Walther sees 20 rupees on the race game and opts to skip them.
Yeah, 20 rupees for 8 or 9 seconds of your time, plus whatever it takes you to bomb through that wall. Nah.
So here on Walther's side, we're seeing that he's going to go right to Sahasrara and probably do a full clear of Eastern, not opting to do the South Shore route.
Yeah, normally what people would do is the South Loop. We'll see if Malle decides to do that. But with that early bow and that early lamb, the Eastern play definitely on these guys' minds, as we can see on Malle's side as well.
Yep. The flippers give a few additional options on the South Shore route, but without the money for Zora, you might want to hold off. Well, we get the glove there in Sahasrara's closet.
Alright, that is part 2 out of 3 for a Dark World Axis, so hammer or another glove upgrade and we're good to go. And we can put Aghanim 1 out of our heads.
So,
Right.
both of our runners are going to be in Eastern. We're going to be seeing our first crystal well short of the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, a really quick first crystal, and we'll have to see what else we can grab out of here. If we find the last piece of our Dark World puzzle, so far just a heart container, or if maybe it's another progression item. Alright, Walther finds the big key early on, so depending on what he finds in that big chest, he might just opt to immediately go to the Armless Knights.
Yeah, I think the first chest was an item of no consequence, right?
Yeah, it was a heart container. It's nice, but, you know, nothing that we really want to have or find.
And there's a big 20, so if this big chest has an item, we won't need to do the big long walk through the dark, because it'll just be a map or a compass over there.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm not a huge proponent of this, but there could potentially be... Oh, well, nope. And Walther seems to be going to the right side, yeah. It's probably a good idea to be thorough on your first visit here, especially this early on.
Yeah, this early in the game, you don't want to take the risk of leaving like a hammer behind in that location, even if it is a bit out of the way.
And Malle deciding to do the same. Both of these guys full clearing their eastern palaces here, grabbing their first crystals, as you were saying, well before the 20-minute mark.
So with that 300 rupee fine, no items of great significance or progression in Eastern, but we will be getting our first crystal.
Yeah, we're gonna grab our first crystal, and we're also only, well, at least for Walther, we're only 51 rupees away from Zora. And since we already got the flippers, there's, you know, there's still a bunch of stuff we can check out in the light world.
Walther showing some heads-up gameplay, remembering that there's a rupee room here in Eastern Palace. Grabs a little bit of extra cash, and that will push him over the threshold for Zora.
Yep, very nicely done. Doesn't cost him a whole lot of time and pushes him, as you say, right over that threshold.
Malle doing the same thing, grabbing the rupee room. It's good to see these heads-up plays from these runners. It's good to have an idea of where the rupee rooms are, sometimes pots with full magic in dungeons. Those sorts of things, they can really save you in clutch situations and races.
Yeah, absolutely. Your game awareness and your item knowledge can be extremely useful. As you say, you know, there's a full magic refill here or there hidden under a pot that you normally don't go to, and it can really save your butt cheeks.
Walther doing a decent job on the Armos Knights. Doesn't get the traditional quick kill, but still makes pretty fast work of them. Malle's fight looking like it's going to go on a little bit longer, but gets the job done.
Yep, very nicely done.
And now we're going to see that South Shore route from Walther. I'm sure with the flippers, we'll probably see that play up to Zora since he went out of his way to grab that cash.
And now we are seeing that south loop we were talking about earlier.
Walther sees a soggy single rupee after draining the dam and gets 10 arrows inside the dam.
Not the greatest find here. We'll see what Mini Moldorm Cave has to hold for us. With the Master Sword in hand, oh, I'm surprised to see bomb strats here from Walther. Doesn't want to bother going over there.
Yep, makes quick work of the Moldorms on the sides with those bombs. Gets more bombs for his trouble. And the Fire Rod.
Yeah, okay, we'll take that. And getting all those bombs back, not too bad either. Grabbing another extra heart. Yeah, at this point, you know, you're not too happy about finding a heart, but you're not mad about it either.
So Walther's going for a swim and is heading up to the Ice Rod Cave. You do actually swim faster than you walk, so if you don't have the boots, not a terrible idea to take this swim. It does look like Malle, though, is going to walk to Ice Rod Cave, so Walther probably going to gain just a few seconds by taking a swim. And Ice Rod Cave just has a piece of heart, but gets Walther another full heart, so he gets a refill. So now we're going to see Walther perhaps head up to Hobo? Yes, it looks like we're going to see Hobo. Some runners will opt to skip Hobo because it's just quite a long swim, but this early in the game, 1 item away from Dark World access, you kind of have to go for all these checks. I don't think Walther checked the island, no. Hobo just giving out a couple of arrows.
I'm finding all kinds of arrows here. The seed really likes that bow that we got super early on.
Yeah, and speaking of arrows, the Lake Hylia Island is just a 10-arrow quiver upgrade. So now we're going to be seeing 2 chests in the waterfall, 1 item on the Zora Ledge, and 1 item from the rip-off fish himself.
And there's already 2 terrible items. I was just going to say there's hopefully a good chance that at least one of these will be good, but 2 big reds starting out.
Well, that's a nice item on the Zora Ledge. It's not Dark World access, but it is certainly an item that both of our runners will make a beeline for.
Oh, yeah.
It feels real good to find the Tempered Sword this early in a seed.
Yeah, you're barely 25 minutes in, not even. You're already with a bow and Tempered Sword. You're feeling pretty good.
Zora was just a full heart container, so I think our runners are a little bit disappointed that they had to spend 500 rupees for that. But we're getting down to the wire here on locations. That's right, we've got Dark World. Death Mountain. But we only have the Old Man, we have the item inside Spectacle Rock up on Death Mountain. And that's all we've got access to thus far. Before he heads up to Death Mountain, Walther's going to make that lumberjack check now. He will find out that it's nothing of great importance.
Yeah, not a bad idea to do it now. You know, you're already here. It's not too far out of the way, and it gives you a little bit peace of mind to know, okay, there's definitely nothing I need to do for this guy.
Malle, on the other hand, is heading for Agina, it has to be. That's the only thing left in this region of the world. Without the boots or the flute, it's a big pain to get to this location. You'll see a lot of runners leave it out completely. You'll see a lot of runners hold off until they do the desert or mire areas. But this might be the ticket to the Dark World.
Yeah, with only 1 item missing, you never know where it might show up, so these out-of-the-way locations could make a big difference.
Well, we just saw another very interesting item on the Desert Ledge. That is the Ice Rod on the Desert Ledge. And we get the Cane of Burna from the Old Man. Kind of rude to take an old man's walking stick away from him.
I mean, yeah, he kind of gave it up you know, by himself. Didn't really force him.
I guess that's true. The Agena check turns out, as it often does, to be nothing. And there we just saw, at 24 minutes, the last sword upgrade. We saw the we saw the buttered sword on top of Spectacle Rock. We can't get that yet, not without the mirror. And we see the shovel inside Spectacle Rock.
So Walther opting to grab that shovel says, okay, a fetch quest is still better than doing Aga 1.
Yep, and with nothing else to do on the mountain, we're going to see the save and quit right away. I bet we're going to spawn at Link's house and head straight to the shovel spot. I think this shovel spot's the last location we have to see. If this shovel spot gives us Dark World access, great. Otherwise, it's going to be Aga. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right. I mean, Walther hasn't checked Agena yet, but we know it's nothing.
Shovel ends up being just a piece of heart. So Walther either makes the long walk to Agena or heads straight up to Aga Tower. Looks like we're going to go to Agena. Heading down toward this rock here to get towards desert.
Yeah, I don't really blame him. You want to skip Aga as much as you can. And apparently Walther agrees with that. The only upside is that now he can do Aga Tower with the Tempered Sword, which makes it not so annoying.
Yeah, Aga Tower's a pain, you gotta put the time into it, but it's not challenging. It's not very interesting. They're just gonna be climbing up for a couple of minutes. We're gonna have to sit and watch.
Alright, and here we go. Malle now checking his shovel spot, while Walther is more than likely on his way up Aga Tower.
Well, at least we're going to head into the Dark World with a full row of 10 hearts. We don't yet have any Malle upgrades, but we do have the Tempered Sword and 10 hearts, so I think our runners should feel pretty comfortable in the Dark World. I already see some members of our chat throwing out some numbers in between 0 and 15. For those of you who are unaware, Aghanim shoots projectiles that you have to reflect back at him, and he has a chance of throwing out some blue projectiles, blue balls that you can't reflect. And the number of blue balls you get is random. A perfectly executed Aghanim fight can have up to 15 blue balls. Since in Randomizer we want to be somewhat kind to our runners, both of our runners will get the same RNG in the Aghanim fight, the same number of blue balls.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt this most interesting Aga Tower climb, but I just found the longest curly fry in existence.
Congratulations. We are all witnesses.
Thanks.
I guess we're not actually witnesses. I'm taking your word, Herf.
Yeah, it's already eaten as well, so no way to prove it. Either way, we've almost made it up here to Aga 1. Walther employing his fire rod for the last little bit. He's down to 3 hearts.
Yeah, there's if you stand directly to the left or right of Aghanim and use the traditional spin to reflect the ball, there's a very good chance you don't take any damage during this fight, so I don't think Walther's too worried about his health. He will get a full health and magic refill once he appears on top of the pyramid in the Dark World. There is our first blue ball. And our second. Uh-oh. We've got 3 blue balls. So, the way the Aga fight works is you get 1 guaranteed reflectable ball and then 3 50-50s, and all of them have been blue balls thus far. So we're in for a bad time so far. 4.
Oh, man.
5. 6. So, as chat's pointing out, we're still on track for the mythical 15 blue balls.
I blame this cursed curly fry. I shouldn't have never eaten it.
Uh-oh. 7?
Oh, Jesus, come on.
There we go. We just got a reflectable ball, so we're not going to see 15. And Aghanim goes down after 7 blue balls. As I mentioned, both runners will get the same awful luck in this fight, so they're not going to lose any time because of that, relative to each other.
Yeah, unfortunately for Malle, he will also get the same horrible Aga 1 fight. Alright, so far, only red rupee on the pyramid. That means it's gotta be Pod or our Quakefish.
And it looks like Walther's choosing to head to Pod.
Yeah, I can't really blame him. It's, you know, it has a couple more item locations than 1. Oh, and as Chad is rightly pointing out, he is 6 rupees short, which he just now realized. And off we go to dig for some money.
Malle, on the other hand, has enough rupees, but is going up to do the catfish check.
The one time you're hoping for a rupee drop.
You get bombs instead. Walther 1 rupee closer. There we go.
Alright.
Dark World map check. We have pendants at Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. And a red crystal at Pod.
So that means not only is that ice rod that we saw earlier not required, we're also not going to be needing any medallion. Assuming we never have to set foot in independent dungeons.
Yep, it also means that we might not see that red cane get used. Ooh. Do you see what that quakefish had?
Oh boy. That's some good stuff.
Malle picks up the Titan's mitts from the quakefish. So that will open up a lot more to Malle. And it looks like he's going to capitalize it by heading to Kakariko Village to head into the Dark World portal there.
Now the thing for Walther here is, if it turns out that the rest of Pod that he can reach with his current equipment is empty, that's actually good for him. If he finds something else that leads him away from that Titansmith position, he might not come back there for quite a while.
Malle heading towards Skull Woods. With the fire rod, we can full clear this. It is a crystal dungeon, so... And Malle actually heading straight to the back of Skull Woods. Gonna go right for Mothula. Walther, meanwhile, on the bow-locked part of Pod, finds the 2 small keys and is going to take a death warp, it looks like.
Yeah, the keys open up another couple of chests for him.
Malle finds the mirror under the bridge. It's a great spot to find it, because you really hate doing the walk back.
Oh, man.
So with the Titan's mitts in the mirror, Malle certainly has an item advantage at this point. It remains to be seen what Walther finds in Pod.
Yeah, Walther is really kind of experiencing the pain of Pod right now. You keep getting keys and keys and keys, and more stuff opens up, and until you can finally get to that part where all the items are, you've already spent a couple of minutes.
Since Malle came straight to the back, has to kill this Gibdo to get a key. And the mummy goes down.
Walther grabs his first item here out of Pod. $300, not what he was looking for.
Meanwhile, with the Tempered Sword, Malle takes out Mothula. Gets a map. So Malle has found one item in Skullwoods, and that was the mirror. And Mothula not dropping an item means we might see a little more scouring of Skullwoods on that side.
Thankfully, they got the cane early on, so that one room with the statue won't be quite as annoying.
Yep, and as if Malle had heard you, equips the cane right away. Doesn't look like Walther's made any progress in terms of items in Pod, which, as you mentioned, probably good for him, gonna send him straight up to Catfish.
Yep, he saves and quits out after the big chest here, realizing, okay, I've got everything I can get. That'll unfortunately only leaves Catfish, which means he has to track back to the castle entrance and then walk all the way over there, but...
And there's the second item in Skullwoods. It is the Pegasus Boots.
Oh man, all these decisions are working out great for Malle. First the decision to go up to the Quakefish, and now to immediately go to Skullwoods and round it up from the back.
And yeah, we're going to see the north side of Darkworld, and with the mirror we can easily mirror over and check the Bonk Rocks and the King's Tomb now that we have those boots. The Bumper Cave is just a 20 rupee. Malle opting not to head towards the north of Darkworld. With the mirror, Malle could check the Graveyard Ledge and the King's Tomb and the Bonk Rocks, but instead we're heading into the Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. For now, you want to check everything out here. You can finish up most of Thieves Town if you so choose.
So early on in this race, we saw that Walther gained a slight lead just due to slightly cleaner execution, better movement, but Malle's routing choices have given him a reasonable lead at this point. It's still, of course, anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, it's obviously, as you say, too early to really call anything, but as you were also mentioning, Malle's routing choices just... You know, he's making all the right decisions. It's not even so much that Walther is making bad plays. He's just not making the same decisions that Malle is making, and that is putting Malle a little bit in the front right now.
Malle is opting to skip Thieves Town completely. I'm betting it's because he does not have the hammer, doesn't want to run the risk of leaving one item in that basement big chest.
And with how well everything's been going for Malle, I don't blame him at all. That hammer probably going to come up at some point. You don't want to double dip anything if you don't have to.
Yep. So Malle could head south here, and go towards Stumpy, the cave, but instead we're going to head back north, and I bet we're going to be doing the blacksmith sequence. Grab the frog here and take him home.
Looks like you are completely right. We'll have to leave out the hammer packs, unfortunately, but not a huge deal.
Yep, meanwhile, Walther getting his boots in Skullwoods.
Yep, he's opting to do it from the front, which means he will have the boots a little bit earlier than Malle did. Won't really make much of a difference in the end, but just interesting to see the different approaches of these runners.
Yep. The blacksmith just gave Malle a piece of heart, and now we're going to be taking the purple chest.
Probably gonna be checking that mirror spot south of the Grove, or K45, or Ring of Bushes, whatever you want to call it.
And the cave south of Grove with a bomb capacity upgrade. Malle did something very interesting there in picking up a bomb. I bet Malle was afraid that he'd walk into his Dark World portal. If you're holding a bomb over your head, you don't actually get warped. So I bet that's why we saw that on Malle's side.
Yeah, I didn't want to risk leaving that purple chest behind. Oh, and Walther having a little bit of trouble here with that torch room.
And Stumpy giving us 50 rupees.
Alright, while Malle is heading over to Hype Cave, let's see how Walther deals with good old friend Mothula here.
Hype Cave starting out, not much hype with a big 20. Another big 20. 10 arrows. A piece of heart. And a big 20. So, 0 hype.
Yeah, that was really disappointing.
That's more disappointing than usual. Usually you'll find at least something pleasant in there, but there was really nothing to write home about.
And Walther is going back in for his last item, which will be the mirror. He's probably going to be pretty happy about picking that up.
With that mirror, both of our runners have access to the Butter Sword, in addition to Tower of Hera, but still no access to the east side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, with the Tower of Hera being a pendant dungeon, I would assume we're probably not going to see either of these guys head up there before they have a hookshot or a hammer.
Yeah, it's certainly not worth the trip just to get Butter Sword and a pendant dungeon. Malle heading to the King's Tomb is not heading this way in the Dark World, so we'll not be able to check the Graveyard Ledge. But we'll see King's Tomb, probably see Bonk Rocks afterwards. King's Tomb just a piece of heart.
Walther, on the other hand, is heading there in the Dark World and will be checking the Graveyard Ledge, so we'll see what Malle, if anything, had to leave behind here.
Meanwhile, Malle is now making the dive. Well, that could be something.
That is our desert access, so definitely another step forward.
So now Walther has one item advantage on Malle, which is that book. And with the items we currently have, we do have access to both tablets.
Oh, look at that cute little mushroom. So that hammer basically been accessible to these guys for some time now already, but both of them not really heading into Thieves Town for reasons, well, probably because of that hammer.
Yep. But I'm sure Malle feels great finding it. We'll be able to do a full clear of this dungeon. As chat has been saying over and over again, the ice rod is on Desert Ledge. I believe only Malle has that knowledge. I don't think Walther made that check when he was in the area.
There's a tiny little Fisher Price shield in the bombable room here in Thieves Town.
Yep, so earlier in this seed we made a big deal about finding that tempered sword so early, but the boss of this dungeon, Blind the Thief, is one that the sword you have does not matter. Blind takes the same damage from every item that damages him. But I think our runners will probably try to pull off the scripted fight. If you do the same thing at Blind every time, Blind will go down the same way every time. So we're close to seeing that on Malle's side.
Oh, and a small key, so that means the big chest is not locked in itself.
And a slightly bigger shield for your troubles, there in the big chest.
So 2 shields and a hammer here in Thieves Town. Interesting items.
A lot of runners don't get all that excited about the shields, but if you are going to find the fire shield right before Blind is not a terrible place to find it, since all those fireballs come flying at you in that fight.
Yeah, the bullet hell this turns into in the 3rd phase is quite a bit nicer to do just with a fire shield in case you don't quite manage to deal with everything in the script way.
Yeah, Malle already a little bit off script, letting Blind swing around a little bit. But I don't think we're going to see much trouble, anyway.
Oh, looking good so far. This is the part where it gets a little bit harder, but he opts to do with a Cane of Burning Threats here, adding some lag, but also some swag.
Chat pointing out that Walter skipped the chest in the attic, and is also skipping the big chest.
That's quite an interesting choice.
Yeah, skipping the attic chest is especially interesting. That's really not much time at all. Walther also going off script, while Malle is doing the hammer pegs.
Yeah, finishing up what he had to leave behind earlier, so now he can be sure that it's nothing important, unfortunately.
Where did Malle find half magic?
That is a good question. Oh, purple chest. Alright. That makes sense. You know, Malle is going to be picking up his book, so we're pretty much an item parity again, with the exception of the 2 shields that Walther skipped in Thieves Town.
Yeah, saves a little bit of time, but I wonder if that was a mistake or if that was intentional. It's a very interesting gamble.
There's the book from Malle, finishing it up with a save and quit, and Walther dips into the dark world here, south of Link's house. I'm wondering where he's going. Maybe he's going... Nope, he's not. He's maybe checking the tablet?
Yeah, it's curious that he was in Village of Outcasts, and... Oh, we're seeing Swamp?
Okay, a swamp without hookshot. You don't see that a whole lot.
Yeah, without the hookshot, he can check the first chest, the south chest, and the 2 chests on the left, but that's it. Can't complete the dungeon unless the hookshot happens to be in here.
Chet is pointing out that he might think he's in go mode, but I think he just realized that he does not have the hookshot, so off you go, not in the swamp.
Meanwhile, Malle is going to be the first to the Bombos tablet. And we'll probably head straight into Desert after this. Gets the blue mail from the Bombos tablet. Not a terrible... Yeah, not a terrible find. Nobody's gonna turn down the blue mail if it falls literally into their lap from the heavens.
Yeah, just some clothing from the sky, really, you know, not what you would expect, I guess, but, yeah. Alright, and we are getting some divergence here after Walther has, realized what was apparently his mistake. He is heading into Ice Palace, also without the hookshot, while Malle is following the breadcrumbs of his book. So let's see if Malle's routing decision keep turning out as positive as they have.
Well, the first item in Desert is just an arrow capacity upgrade. While the first chest in Ice is a green potion, and that's a really great place to find a green potion since this dungeon is real heavy on the magic usage.
Yeah, especially since Walther does not have the half magic yet, he is going to be happy about that refill. You need all that magic. Well, he does have the Bombos medallion, so the ice shell for Cold Stare isn't too awful.
Yeah, the Bombos medallion uses the same amount of magic as 2 fire rod shots. Which is to say 1/4 of your magic meter. And Malle just found the second item in Desert, which was also a 5 arrow capacity upgrade. So, but I'm sure Malle is going to be picking up the ice rod from the Desert ledge. Even if Turtle Rock is not required, it's better to have the ice rod and not need it than to be like, I need that ice rod later on.
Yeah, absolutely. While you're here, might as well do it. And you never know, we haven't had a pet check yet, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be one, but it might always turn out to be a pet seed.
I suppose the hook shot could be on the pedestal, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But other than that, I mean, unless... No, it can't be one of the medallions. We already saw the ice rod. And other than the hookshot, we're not really missing a whole lot. Can't be the flute.
We have a question in chat. What does the star mean on the tracker? Well, one of the pendants has a star. In this case, it's Misery Mire. That's the green pendant. If you get it and take it to Sahasrara, he gives you an item. And 2 of the crystals have stars. Those are what would be in the vanilla game crystals 5 and 6. They let you purchase the big bomb from the bomb shop and get into the Pyramid Fairy where there are 2 chests. Malle just barely missing the 1 cycle on Lanmos. 1 fire rod shot short.
Yeah, very close there. There we go.
Yep, Malle gets a crystal, but nothing else of any real importance from Desert Palace. Meanwhile, I don't think we've seen anything of importance in Ice Palace either.
Yeah, I don't think anything has really come up for Walther or Malle. Malle now, as we just said, finished with his crystal dungeon. Gonna be saving and quitting while Walther finishes up the rest of what he can in here. And yeah, I was just gonna say for Malle, Pod is probably looking very attractive right now. He has the bow, he has the hammer, he hasn't been in there yet, unlike Walther, so...
Yep. And I don't think Walther's made his way to the east side of Ice Palace. If Walther knew the bomb jumps, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Could get to the east side even without the hook shot.
Yeah, depending on how much time he wants to invest in this, or how much time he would definitely need to do this, he can definitely full clear the Ice Palace.
I guess he's really only looking for... Well, I don't think Walther knows where the ice rod is. Then again, he knows it's probably not necessary. Interesting. First chest was a key. Right side is open without hookshot. Okay, so the right side is accessible in logic without the hookshot. Okie dokie.
Alright, here we go into the cold stair fight. Walther pretty low on magic thanks to the bombo is not going to be a problem, and the tempered sword on the puff's working pretty well, I would say.
Opting to use a red potion. It's a real pain to get back here if you die during this fight.
Yeah, and Walther is still in his green mail, even though his sprite is currently colored red, so hugging these guys, as you just saw, 4 hearts of damage, he only had 3 hearts left. You don't want to die that easily. So, that is Ice Palace done for Walther. That is crystal number 4 for him. Meanwhile, Malle making his way through pod. We already know that most of these chests that Malle is going to be picking up in the near future are going to be kind of not that great, you know. Lots of heart pieces and hearts, and a lot of keys, as is the trend with pod.
Walther heading back into the Dark World through this warp here. Not hitting the swamp. Still does not have the hookshot. Walther didn't do Hype Cave when he was in this part of the world. Just abandoned swamp and went to ice, so didn't miss out on much. You will see that this is not a very hype cave.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, or in this case, I guess fortunately for him, it wasn't very hype, but another interesting decision. Hype Cave, you know, a thing that's very early on and very easily accessible right away. 5 items that you could potentially get in here. I'm gonna assume that Walther, yeah, is gonna be picking up his blue mail now.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and another thing that I just realized is that after Malle is done here with his pod, he will have both the Pyramid Fairy crystals done, so he will probably go and check out what the Pyramid Fairy has for us.
Yep. Pretty much just looking for that hookshot at this point. So, each of our runners is doing stuff that the other one has already done, so we've seen all this before. So, why don't I remind you at this point that these 2 runners are both doing a great job. If you like what you see, why don't you give both of them a follow? It's been very entertaining thus far.
Alright, Walther picking up his second arrow capacity upgrade, probably equally as unhappy as Malle was with that desert palace.
Yep. So, Malle is probably going to be checking that Pyramid Ferry, as you said. We still have not seen any of East Death Mountain or Dark Death Mountain. So, that's on the table. There's a bunch of chests there.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. I think we have a good chance of finding our next item up there somewhere. There's just so many things left unchecked, and even though it's a pendant dungeon, there's also Tower of Hera that has, you know, the potential of having a couple of items for us.
Yep. 2 items in Hera. It's not too long, but you still kind of cringe if you're investing time into a pendant dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Malle on the way to Helmasaur King, just as Walther's on the way to Lan Molas.
Yep, and Walther is going to have a couple less shots here, still not having that half magic might, you know, at this rate. Might not ever pick it up if the items happen to fall into his hands the way he needs them to. He might not ever feel the need to do that purple chest.
Yep. Malle opting for arrows on Helmasaur. Gets the job done.
Yeah, Chris will pick up at almost the same time.
And Helmasaur did have an item, but it was just 5 rupees. Sorry, 20. I'm bad at colors. 20. 20 is red, right?
520. What's the difference at this point? I think we've paid pretty much most of the stuff, if not everything, that we needed to pay. Oh, and Walther is heading up Death Mountain now with a mirror and hammer in hand. He can grab that butter sword finally, maybe, and then make his way over to the eastern part. Maybe even dip into Hera. Tower of Hera really not that long of a check. Obviously, assuming that you don't have to spend your whole time in the basement waiting for tiles to fly at your face.
Yep. And we'll see the Ether tablet check too, I'm sure.
Alright, so here we go. Seeing some new item locations. Malle, as we predicted, grabbing that big bomb, while Walther is looking. Oh, just a piece of heart falling from the skies here.
If you're just joining us, this is pretty much race for the hookshot at this point.
Yeah, really, as soon as these guys find the hookshot, they're good to go. The question is, who made the decision, who made the right decision, which location is the right location to check for that hookshot?
Two items coming up on Malle's side, they could be the hookshot. But they're not! We get 10 arrows and a piece of heart.
Yeah, we continue the arrow trend while Walther grabs a couple of bombs out of Spiral Cave. I don't think he even bothered checking into Tower of Hera at all, so we're just going for Death Mountain, East Side, Light, as well as Dark World, leaving the Pendant Dungeon maybe for last.
As
And
chat's
of course... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
As chat's pointing out, we do have the possibility for hookshot in Hookshot Cave. What were you going to say?
Exactly the same thing. There is always the chat favorite of that one chest that you can bonk over to in Hookshot Cave.
Yep, bonking is considered a logically permissible action in Randomizer, since the developers of the game put a room in Ganon's Tower that you were intended to get to with bonking. Walther.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was gonna mention a little while ago that one thing these runners don't want to see is the flute, because that puts the potential of Misery Mire into play.
Technically, Misery Mire would also require you to have the hookshot, but only if they didn't already have the boots for the reasons that you just explained a second ago.
Yep, bonking is an intended mechanic to get the first chest in Hookshot Cave, to get into Misery Mire, and I think, like, to get to, like, the vanilla map location in Ganon's Tower, you can bonk your way down that room that nobody ever bonks through, but I think the hookshot could actually be in there.
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I don't think in normal logic it is, but it might be. I've definitely never seen it there.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that if you look at the statistics, it occurs like 1 time out of 25,000 or something like that. Well, we can't get into Turtle Rock because it is Ether, so that's one thing that our runners don't have to worry about right now.
We just found our hookshot, which is not quite where we predicted it to be, but it's close by. It's apparently on the floating island, so...
Well, there we go. Malle will be in go mode once he picks up this hookshot.
Now, the thing for me here is, did Walther see that when he was walking up here? He's going straight into the hookshot cave, so... That means he's definitely aware of the bonkable chest here, and by the looks of it, he did not see it, or he wouldn't be bonking here.
Yeah, this could be rough if he does not make that check.
Oh, I hope he continues through, or at least mirrors back to check it.
Well, we're gonna see the Turtle Rock check, but if we then see a save and quit... No?
No, not quite.
He's not going to check the island. He's heading to Spike Cave.
Oh yeah, he's going to Spike Cave. Oh, this is bad for Walther. Oh, he's getting out the mirror. He's apparently checking Tower of Hera. Oh, that is so unfortunate. But that floating island, that's you know, I don't want to say it's a typical location, but it's one of those locations that it never has anything, and then the one time you forget to check it because it never has anything normally, it actually has what you're looking for all along.
Yep. So there's little chance Walter's going to head back to that side of Death Mountain, unless he gets the medallion for Turtle Rock.
Meanwhile, Malle gets the pleasure of doing both a swamp and Ice Palace Go mode, which is so incredibly fast compared to a full clear of both of these dungeons.
Yep, and we've got Butter Sword. Malle's got the blue mail and half magic, so doesn't even have to be worried about picking up chests for safeties. So we're going to see Moldorm on Walther's side. We know it doesn't have what he needs. And we're seeing Go Mode Swamp Palace on Malle's side.
Oh, and Walther immediately being hit with the bad luck here. jumps down, and the first thing that happens is that he gets knocked back down the hole.
Ooh, almost takes a fall down the center hole. Gets Moldrum down. First try, right? First try.
Yeah, close enough. That small key, I'm not sure, did he grab all the items out of here, or is he tempted to make the trip into the horrible basement?
I wasn't keeping track as closely as I should have been. But he's going back in, so must be an item in the basement.
And that is not only him down in the basement, but more time down the basement as well. Well, Malle needs to be a little bit careful here. I mean, he's still got 3 hearts and blue mail and everything, but...
I think Malle still has one of those red potions at least from early on in the seed if it becomes necessary.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So Walther gets to take a little break here in the basement, but it's not what he needs to do. He needs to get back to the floating island to grab the hookshot.
There is crystal number 6 for Malle, so he will be off right to Ice Palace, which in go mode again, if he manages to do the Ice Palace bomb jump, which I'm pretty sure. Oh no, Walther. Don't do it, Walther.
Well, Ether will send him back in the direction of Turtle Rock, so he may see the hookshot on that floating island right now.
Oh, nope, he's taking... Oh, thank God you're not taking the Dark World portal.
Finding Ether in the basement might be the thing that gives Walther a fighting chance here.
Oh yeah, let's hope he manages to see it up there. Please, Walther.
It's right
there.
there.
It is. Yeah, he saw it. Oh my God, Walther, no! Yeah, he's taking the warp over here, and yeah, he saw it. Okay, thank you very much. Jesus.
So that Ether was the best possible thing that could have happened to Walther for doing all that time in the basement.
That is just incredibly lucky for him. Unfortunately for him, he still has to do a Go Mode Swamp Palace and the rest of Pod, which will be hard to catch up, but at least he still has a fighting chance. And there we go, 1 hour 18 and 15 seconds. Walther the Fourth is in Go mode as well. Immediately saves and quits.
Malle killing those 2 Stalfos at once. I really love that strat because it looks really cool and it's not that hard to pull off.
Yeah, it's a really, really good strat. It's, as you say, it's not that hard to pull off, but it's still deceptively hard, I find. Sometimes I throw that pod at that guy that comes flying down and it just completely whiff it, and then I'm like, oh God, what do I do now? Malle here trying for the Ice Palace bomb jump is having a little trouble lining up. I think at this point it's safe to say that nerves are coming into play. If the seed has treated you this well, you're always thinking, oh God, my opponent has done everything I did, only better.
Yep. When you're racing, you tend to feel like your opponent has done all of the good things you've done and has made none of your mistakes.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're in a race, you always feel behind. Alright, Malle coming up on his last boss fight here while Walther is dashing through Swamp Palace as quickly as he can.
Malle gets to take out Cold Stare with the Butter Sword, and Half Magic, and Blue Mail. This is one of the more enjoyable fights. Cold Stare's a pain, but when you can wreck him with these sets of equipment, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, the bombos for the quick and easy ice shell kill, and then if you manage to get them stuck in the corner with a good spin or two, with a Butter Sword you can kill Cold Stare so quickly.
Yep.
Oh, almost gets it.
One of them escapes and gets to live for another 3 seconds or so.
And there we go. That is the last crystal for Malle.
So, Herf, what happens when one of our runners gets the last crystal?
Well, I would say normally what they do is they head up to Death Mountain as fast as they can, and they lift up those 7 crystals to open up a little tower called Ganon's Tower.
That sounds about right. What does our chat do when one of our runners gets their last crystal?
They put in numbers like crazy because we have chests number 1 through 22 to potentially hold that big key that we're looking for. And as you guys are already prone to do and already doing as much as you can, put in your guesses in the chat. Which chest will hold the big key today? If you are a subscriber to any of the speed gaming channels or have tipped 250 or more bits, you have a chance to end up on the leaderboard for the big key guessing game, forever immortalizing your name in the database. Alright, and Walther is grabbing his second to last crystal just as Malle is taking the Dark World Warp over on Turtle Rock to head to the Ganon's Tower that we were just talking about. Alright, so at 1 hour 23 minutes, Malle is opening his Ganon's Tower, while Walther is dashing over to Pa to finish up his last crystal dungeon as fast as he can.
Malle heading in at 1 hour 23 minutes and just about 18 seconds.
Alright, the first 2 chests hold nothing but a small key, which for Malle means, hey, we are going right side first. Uh-oh, having a little trouble with the torches here. Yeah, decides to reset the room. Probably a good idea.
Good thing Malle has that half magic. Can afford a few extra fire rod shots.
Yeah, definitely helps out in here. You're always a little panicked. Very nicely done though. Let's see here. Chest number 3 has a red rupee. Oh man, even more money. That's oh man.
The floor always changes when you open that top left chest, so you usually want to hold off on that one to last.
So the first 6 item locations, nothing there. We're grabbing a small key from under the pot and mirroring back, and off to the left side we go. Meanwhile, Walther is entering the dark part of the back of Pod.
Yeah, Malle opts to pick up the piece of heart from the torch, maybe hoping for a heart refill there.
Yeah, or maybe hoping for one later on to grab a full heart at some point. Ooh, alright.
There it is.
Number 9. Well, opening a couple more chests, probably hoping to find silver somewhere. Not really, you know, a huge deal to not have them, especially with the butter sword, but it's always more convenient.
Yep, we may see Malle opt to pick up a couple of chests upstairs in Ganon's tower. Is running a bit low on health. Pops a red potion.
Meanwhile, Walther picking up his last crystal, or will be shortly after Helmasaur King has done exploding, I guess. There we go.
Malle having a little bit of rough luck with these mimics.
Yeah, these mimic rooms are already a pain in the butt, and then without silver arrows, each of these take 2 arrows, which just makes it even more annoying.
Malle on the way to the gauntlet.
So Walther basically a big key search and a little bit behind here on Malle. If he should opt to go left side immediately, he could make up a little bit of time.
Yep. Malle getting a little bit beat up in the gauntlet too. I think Walther's execution has been a little bit cleaner this whole race. We saw gain some time early on in the race, but Malle's routing really made the difference here. Malle does not have the powder, so can't powder that bunny beam to get a fairy. Can't powder the anti-fairies further up the tower. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think he has another red potion left, so putting it to good use here.
So we're gonna
these Wizrobe rooms.
Yeah, with the cane, you make quick work of him. Walther is opting to go on the right side, so is not going to pick up any time on Malle through the big key search.
Yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate, but that probably means, barring any horrible things, which we of course do not hope for, Malle should be on a good pace for a win here.
Malle takes his time in that room and avoids the dreaded GT despawn. If you head up those stairs at the same time that the torch next door goes out, you break the game. This is a game that does not respond well to things happening at the same time. And you despawn all of the enemies in Ganon's tower and have to mirror back to the beginning. It doesn't happen all that often, but it's heartbreaking when it does.
Yeah, it's never fun. Oh, and we see Walther opting for the full right side gamble here, so that will cost him some more time, unfortunately.
Yep. So Walther's going to be going all the way to Ice Armos.
Well, Malle finishing off his Moldorm 2. Gonna be going over to Aga 2, checks the last chest to see if they maybe hold his silver arrows. But with 3 pendant dungeons that have been completely unchecked, I think there's a pretty good chance they're probably somewhere in there.
Yep. I don't think Malle's going to have too much trouble with this silverless fight.
Let's hope Aga 2 is a little bit nicer than Aga 1 was.
Well, starts with what looks like a double. And another.
Nice.
That looked like 1 to me, so this should be it. Oh, doesn't get it done though.
Our commentator's curse strikes again.
There we go. So,
and Walther grabs a nice refill, but unfortunately realizes the full right side gamble did not pay off.
yeah, meanwhile, Malle passes the final exam in geometry and is heading on to Ganon.
Yep, let's see if we can catch what he says where the silver arrows were hidden. Maybe it'll be clue enough for us to figure out.
I'm thinking it's silver arrows in mire. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's not a bad guess. Ooh, and we get some lag strats here. With that being the only invincibility item that they found throughout the whole game, no cape inside, this is Malle's only choice of being super safe if he chooses to do so, and he did. There's the last hit before the final phase. Let's see. In the light or
Light world. We see Malle missed the torch glitch, which is going to make this fight a little more tedious.
Yeah, with half magic though should still be good, but he is getting a little bit of the annoying things here. With lighting the torches when Ganon is on the opposite side, you set yourself up for a nice one when he comes back down, but you're missing out on time here, so he only manages to get 1 in per cycle, maybe 2. Oh, nope.
Yeah, timing is rough. Needs to get 12 spins on Ganon. The trick is to spin him just as he starts to teleport away. Uh-oh. Malle getting down low on health.
You know, Walther is making very good progress here through the gauntlet, already heading up through the Visro brooms. Oh no.
What a shame. Malle takes a death here at Ganon. This race just got a lot closer.
It certainly did, especially with how low Malle's magic is now. He might opt to flute away. Well, he does not have the flute, so he's walking.
Only Walther has the flute and didn't even turn it on, so... This race is a lot closer now than it was just before.
Yeah, thankfully not the longest walk, but this is definitely giving Walther enough time to catch up, at least somewhat. This is going to be a nail-biter.
Malle talks to the witch to get a health refill, buys a green potion to get a magic refill, and takes 2 blue potions.
Yeah, with all those blue potions in hand now, it should be perfectly safe and fine on the magic as well as the health front. And with a quick save and quit, basically a shortcut back to the pyramid.
Yeah, good heads-up thinking.
Loses out on some health as a trade-off, but still saves some time, probably worth it.
Meanwhile, Walther takes a fall on Moldorm.
And Malle being as careful as he can while being as quick as he can, so he'll be in phase number 3 super fast again.
Ganon seems to have a pretty nice warp pattern so far. Maybe I'm jinxing it. No, there we go. Ganon's not guaranteed to give you the same RNG each time you fight him. You're only seeded for the first fight.
Yeah, the RNG just continues from where you left off, basically, so should you die or fall,
Malle,
you won't get the same.
Yeah, Malle does get the torch glitch this time. So hopefully has an easier fight ahead of him.
Yeah, also starting off pretty well here. With all the blue potions that he has, opting to go for the Fire Rod, which lets him get an extra hit. Looks a lot better already. Just the confidence boost that these potions give you make the fight look very different already.
Yeah, we're already halfway through this.
Meanwhile, Walther finishing up his Aga fight, so he'll be dropping into the Ganon fight not too far after Malle.
Malle 1 or 2 hits away, I think.
Yeah, it's not long anymore.
There it is.
Go. So basically the difference of 1 Ganon fight at the end here. Malle raising up his sword. And GG to Malle, congrats on his win, finishing up with an official SRTV time of 1 hour 38 and 36 seconds. Oh man, meanwhile Walther has to be careful, down to 2.5 hearts. I think he's got potions left, but I'm not 100% sure. He also still does not have that half magic, so he can't be too generous on that cane usage. Alright, looks like we got our winner here for a post-game interview. Hello, Malle, GG, and congrats on your win.
Thank you.
That,
GG, Malle.
That Ganon fight, huh? How about that one?
Yeah, I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen. I don't play well under pressure. I don't know if you know this about me, but I play really bad in tournament races.
You made it so close. You don't even know.
I missed the torch because I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna die, aren't I?
I think you were pretty close. I didn't count the spins that you had in, but if you don't get the torch glitch and then, you know, you don't get into a good rhythm, it gets really weird hitting Ganon on silverless fights.
Yeah, at that point I was expecting to lose, so it's like, okay, well I'm probably gonna lose anyway. I'm just gonna go to the witch and get potions, that way I don't make myself look like a really bad player even more on street.
Well, You did win, but you made it incredibly close. Basically, a Ganon fight is the difference between you two guys.
I figured that'd be it, because the seed was very, for the most part, straightforward.
Well, all your routing choices paid off, I would say. Your first routing choice going up to Quakefish to grab the Titan's mids paid off very well for you, while Walther opted to go into pod and do as much as you could without the hammer and just a bow. And as you saw at the end there, didn't really have too much great stuff in there.
No, not really, unfortunately.
And really, that kind of... You guys were always close, but what made the biggest difference at the end was that the unfinished pod always loomed over Walther. GG to him, by the way, he is now also finishing up.
Really close.
Yeah, he finished with an official time of 1 hour 41 and 9 seconds. But yeah, the biggest thing at the end there, I'll talk about it once we got Walther in here.
Alrighty.
Yeah, he should be ready in a second. GG, Walther. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. So that just happened.
Yeah, I was just talking to Malle about what made the biggest difference at the very end there, and I'm sure you're aware of what it is, right?
Yeah. If there's two things you can take away from this race is don't go into go mode before you're in go mode, and when you realize you're not in go mode, don't panic and do everything wrong.
So what happened?
So when I realized I wasn't in go mode because I didn't have the hookshot, I just decided I'm never going back to Outcast. And when I screwed up Ice Palace, was just, okay, I'm just gonna bet it's not in here, because if either of those two options happened, then I already lost.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that was my go mode as well. There weren't really a lot of required items this seed. It's kind of Turtle Rock and Meyer double combo.
And you also walked past the hookshot a couple of times.
I know. Yeah, I almost went into Turtle Rock as well, but then I saw the hookshot there, and I was like, "Oh crap! I cleared everything on Death Mountain for nothing."
Yeah, Walther, we pointed out that you took the time to go into the Hera basement and you found Ether there, which was the Turtle Rock Medallion. If you hadn't gotten the Turtle Rock Medallion there, you probably would have headed right off of Death Mountain, right?
Yeah, I would have gone to Meyer.
Yeah, because you found the flute there in Paradox Cave, yep.
Oh, flute was in Paradox Cave?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I also want to point out that, Walther, the chest that you skipped at Thieves Town,
yeah,
it was probably... No, the chests that you skipped were both shields, which I thought was very fascinating.
That's interesting. Yeah, I picked up a few, like it took the Maiden's chest just by muscle memory, and I was like, why did I take that chest? I'm in go mode, but I wasn't even in go mode.
Yeah, that was, we were wondering a bit about that, but then, yeah, it turned out that you thought you were in go mode and you actually weren't.
I actually didn't go to Death Mountain at all. I mean, I went there and I found the hookshot. I went there early to see if I could somehow get out of Aga, which of course, U29, no, you're not getting out of Aga. And then I saw hookshot up there, and that was my go mode. So I didn't actually get the flute or anything that was on a Paradox Cave or Dark Death Mountain.
You guys skipped Death Mountain for a long time, both of you, really. You went up there in the very beginning when you really could only see the sword that was up on Spectacle Rock. And then you didn't go back for a long time.
Yeah, but like we didn't get the mirror until Skullwoods, and I think it's like most of the times you go to Feast Town after you beat Skullwoods, and after that there's only one item left for go mode, and it was up on Death Mountain, so we really didn't have too much of a choice.
Speaking of Thieves Town, can I just make one complaint about that hammer in the first chest? I feel like in this version, I get punished no matter what I do or don't do. I was trying to be thorough to find the hammer before I went in there, and it's in the first chest, so alright. That was something.
The only other item difference that I can think of right off the top of my head is that you, Malle, finished up the whole blacksmith and purple chest loop, which got you half magic, which helped out a little bit, I would say, at least. And Walther never picked that up.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm trying to just be very thorough with my Dark World tricks, especially the locations that are hard to route in, like the Graveyard Ledge. I knew I wanted to do that, so that was part of the reason why, after I found the mirror, I just skipped Thieves Town initially and did South Shore. That way I could come back, do Thieves Town, potentially with a hammer if I found it, and then just go to the Graveyard Ledge. And I ended up having books, so it actually worked out for me really well.
Yeah, the book up there gave you access to Desert finally.
Yeah.
Well, I think you both put on a very great show, as you can see by how close it was, and by Malle making it even closer at the end there. It was a very exciting race to watch.
That's good. I tried to keep things exciting, I guess. It's totally intentional, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, GG Walther.
Yeah, GG as well.
It's a really close one.
Yeah, GG to both of you, and you going 3-1 now, Malle. You scared of anyone up there? Have you even looked at all the possible matchups that might be coming your way?
I haven't really looked yet. I think we'll have a better idea of what that will look like later on in the week. But right now, I haven't looked. I'm sure whoever it is gonna kick my butt, but
Yeah, fair enough. It is pretty early on in the week, so we won't have an idea for quite a while. All right, and Walther, you're going, unfortunately, 2-2 now, but definitely still in. You're just gonna have to pull out the wins from now on.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my best at least.
I mean, judging by your performance today, I think you can do pretty well as long as you don't fantasize about your go mode anymore.
Yeah, that's something I'm gonna try to avoid for the rest of the tournament.
well, I wish you the next luck in your next match too.
Yeah, same to you as well.
All right, Firewood King, you got any questions that you want to ask? Anything?
No, I think I'm glad to have seen this. It was a nice and exciting race. I want to remind everybody, we've got them up in chat, the racers' profiles. You should give them both a follow. They've done a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for letting us restream you, and thanks again for putting on a very entertaining race. Please, if you enjoyed what you saw, throw these guys a follow. They deserve all the support they can get. I, of course, also want to thank the whole Speed Gaming Network and the link to the past randomizer community, namely Speed Gaming Channels 1 through 6 and ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4. And of course, all the people behind the scenes. I also want to give a big shout out to Drake Harris, our tracker today. And last but not least, a big shout out to my co-commentator Firewood King. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Herf. It's been fun. Yeah, if you've got your finger on the follow button already, why don't you throw some follows to the Speed Gaming and a link to the past randomizer channels, as well as to our tracker Dracaris and my co-commentator Herfy Durfy.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Stick around. There's plenty more rando to come throughout the whole week. And I hope you guys enjoy what we brought to you, and I hope you have a great day.
Have a good one, everyone.